Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Lacy Frazer, and I'm the director and co-producer of Freeing an Incarcerated World, a documentary film project that I'm working on with my co-producers, Marie Mohler and John Millicitz. I'm here tonight with Marie, and as we round the corner into week 2 of our campaign, we thought we'd really like to connect with our followers and engage our followers in learning more about this mission and vision and purpose of our film and our larger movement. So Marie, I'd love to talk a little bit about the mission of the film and the mission of the movement, and then I'd also love to share a little story.
That'd be great. Well, first of all, I want to say hi, everyone. I'm happy to be communicating with you. I know John was in the film and Lacy's in the trailer and is the director of the film. The three of us have been working diligently to bring this project into form. And one of the things that I think is really important in week 2 of these conversations is to really spotlight the mission of this film,
Yes.
Lacy, for everybody to understand that it is a film and it is a very important project. Beyond the film is a larger movement. And when I think about this film, I know that it really serves as a tool of transformation. So a lot of people watching the trailer, listening to our stories, reading some of the posts that we're going to be making over the course of this campaign, a lot of the questions that are in people's minds, their hearts and minds, boils down to one question: how? How did these men transform their lives from the place that they were in before they entered the group experience that they had with you, Lacy? How did they get on that journey of personal transformation? And how did they come out the other side? Everybody wants to know. It is the million-dollar question. And so I want to spotlight that the mission of this film and larger movement is to give people tools of transformation. We want to teach and inspire effective and empowering tools of transformation so that people worldwide can begin to free themselves from their incarcerated thinking, lack, negative behaviors, and limiting beliefs. And they can begin to create lives of greater meaning, purpose, freedom, happiness, authenticity, and living in service to others. And any of you listening to me talking this way might be the first time you're hearing somebody talk this way, because we tend to live in our lives in just automatic habits that have been there for as long as we can remember. And these men arrived at the door of your office and this program that they ended up attending for 12 months, at least minimum for most of these men, right, Lacy?
Yep.
They went on a year-long journey with you, and some of them continued that journey.
Yes.
So, when we're talking about the how did they transform? What were the tools of transformation that many of us want to know? We don't have to be in a literal prison to know that in our own lives, we can have limits. We could be living inside boxes that we've set for ourselves. We could in some ways not feel fully free to be who we really, really want to be. And so many of us want to know how to unpack the old story we've been living and how to create that new story. And there have to be bridges and tools for that kind of transformation. And you found a way in your role as a psychologist in the federal prison system, Lacy, to create that offering. And the men that chose to step up and have that experience went on this journey. And from my experience being a witness to all of your journeyings, the men and you in that setting, in that experience, I heard about a little 70-page book that provided a cornerstone or a foundation for a lot of the work that you did with them throughout a year's time. So maybe you want to share that story with our listeners.
Well, Marie, you ask the million-dollar question of the how, and of course, that's really what the film is going to be about. So I can't let the cat out of the bag too early.
Exactly.
However, I do think...
But a few little nuggets would be nice.
I will give you this big nugget, which is it's really one of the most precious and important tools that I used in helping people transform their lives. And it was a small book called The Knight in Rusty Armor by Robert Fisher. And this book was this teeny tiny fairy tale, fable type book that had just the most amazing golden nuggets in it. I can't even tell you. We spent 6 months on this 70-page book alone because it was so rich in how it pulled out what needed to be pulled out in people for them to look at themselves in order to make different choices in their thinking, in their feelings, and in their actions. So without further ado, I think I'll just share with our listeners a brief synopsis of the story as an offering here in week 2 of our campaign.
Perfect.
So once upon a time, there was a knight, and he loved his suit of armor, and he kept it shiny and polished, and he kept it on all the time because, you know, he never knew when he would have to run off and rescue damsels in distress or slay dragons or go to war and fight and protect the king. And he got quite used to it, and he felt very safe in his armor. He was very protected. Until one day, his wife came and threatened to leave him because she never saw him anymore. She forgot what he looked like because he wore this armor all the time. And so when she made the simple request for him to take off the armor, he contemplated it, didn't want to do it because, you know, he had to go rescue damsels and slay dragons. But eventually he said, okay, I'll take it off. And it was at that point he realized that the armor was rusted shut and he could not take it off. And this confused him, this angered him, this frustrated him, and it certainly frustrated his wife. And so he made the decision to go seek help. He went to the blacksmith and the jester and several people outside of himself to help him get him out of this suit of armor. However, nothing worked. And he got tired, he got fatigued, and he got concerned that he was never going to be able to get out of this suit of armor. And until one day, somebody suggested that he go see Merlin. And Merlin was a great teacher in the woods, a timeless teacher who surely would give him the answer. And in short, Merlin sent the knight on a journey. And he sent the knight on to journey the path of truth. And so the knight traveled day and night, and he had traveled through 3 castles. Within each castle, he faced a challenge. And the challenge usually had something to do with himself, having to face something within himself, having something reflected back to him that he did not want to see, that he did not want to know about himself. And in the course of the journey through the castle, when he was ready and willing to accept those things about himself, it often brought him to a place of vulnerability. And it was in that place of vulnerability that he often found himself crying as he had to forgive himself, as he had to admit how he treated people poorly, things like that. So as he gained insights into himself, he began to cry. And those tears were what ultimately melted that armor off. And so as he came out the other side of the 3rd castle, he had very, very little armor on at all. But he felt stronger, he felt more courageous, he felt more brilliant and kind and compassionate than he ever had in his life. And he realized that he didn't need his armor at all. And in fact, it was that armor that was keeping all of the good things out of reach. And this story was just a miraculous metaphorical template for the personal transformation of these men. And to this day, the story is near and dear to my heart. And I know for the men that did this journey, the story is near and dear to their hearts.
So it really was a profound tool that you gave them, that they could unlock their armor. And it wasn't just a fable, and it wasn't just a fantastical story. It was literally kind of a living template for them to free themselves from themselves. And it's extraordinary to see men in a prison setting making the choice to step up and go through those castle-like experiences where they had to go inside themselves, see some things that the armor had kept at bay all that time. Right? But those things that we often don't want to face are the very things that are keeping us from the freedom and authenticity and the meaning and the connection that so many of us truly desire.
Exactly. And that is exactly what this film is about and what this movement is about, Marie. I mean, witnessing the transformation of these men through this journey was so incredible. And I began to realize fairly quickly that this is the journey of us all, that we all are at some level, in some way, locked in our own prison of our own making, and that we do need tools and guidance to help free ourselves from our own prison, from our own suit of armor.
Yes.
And I think it's really important for us to kind of put an exclamation point on the mission of this movement, certainly beginning with this film, because I want our listeners, our followers, our contributors, our donors to understand that this is not just about men in prison. This is about all of us.
Right.
Right.
It's a very empowering story. It's a very inspirational story. And stories can have an even greater impact by being a tool or a key that unlocks a greater change or greater transformation in individuals, but in people across the globe.
Right.
And so this is a conversation that I think in many ways it's time for many people to begin having with themselves and having with each other in the world. Because, as we can see, the level of conflict and challenges facing us as a global humanity is inviting us to look at things differently, look at things through a different lens.
Yes.
Like you say in the trailer, after we went through, and after you especially went through that experience, and it shifted your lens on life. It shifted your perspective, and it shifted your desire to help others find these keys and unlock the gifts that are inside all of us to change the world.
Yes.
Essentially. And so this film, bringing it back to the film, is more than a story. It's a very powerful story, and it's an empowering story. And it's a story that's still telling itself, because we are launching this campaign to tell an even bigger story. Inside the story that we want to tell in this film is to give people more of the tools of transformation, at least to illustrate the tools of transformation. It can be used in the larger vision and mission we have for this movement to create an online school and to create a brick and mortar school, and maybe not just one, right? Maybe there are schools across this country that support individuals to access these tools. Just like Merlin gave the tools to the knight, our centers will be little Merlin centers, if you will, across the country and maybe around the world. So when you support this project, and when you watch this trailer, you see the illustrations in the words of these men in their own unique voices, some of the shifts that they experienced when they entered the castles. And throughout the story of the film, you're going to hear, when we make the full film, there's going to be references to the knight's journey, and there's going to be many other aspects of that journey of freeing ourselves from ourselves. And so we thank you for joining us in this week 2's update of the campaign. We are going to be spotlighting many wonderful guests that are going to join us in the weeks to come as we continue the campaign, that are going to tell some of their stories and how their lenses shifted and some of their parts of their heroes' journeys. And it's going to be a fantastic experience for all of us. So we thank any and all of you for listening to our weekly updates, and we wish you a fabulous week. And Lacy, do you want to add more?
Well, I definitely want to thank all the contributors so far to the campaign.
Yes.
And would also wanted to just make one comment about our flexible funding goal. Our flexible funding goal with Indiegogo is $150,000. However, what's really important for our listeners to know is that that is a flexible goal, which basically means that any money we raise will go to making this film and will go to aspects of this larger movement.
Yes.
And if we surpass that $150,000 goal, all that money will go to expanding this movement. I really see this film is a film about the people, made by the people, for the people. And it's
Well
an
said.
important film, and it's an important movement
At a critical time.
at a critical time.
So we are very excited to be bringing these messages to you, to be sharing this trailer, the seeds of this larger vision with you today. We're going to continue to bring more seeds of this vision in our conversations in the weeks to come. And I really want to extend my gratitude. I know John Millicitz feels it, and all the people involved in this film that you haven't seen yet, but there are many, many, many people involved in making this film with us. And so anybody that's giving this positive energy, we're very grateful. People who've given financial contributions in the first week, we're so grateful. You anchored those seeds with your donations.
Yes, absolutely.
And we're so very grateful for that. And we want to have fun. We want to tell this story. We want to help humanity. We want to bring these messages to the hearts of everyone who's calling out for the how right now, the calling out that $1 million question. Transformation is a unique journey to every individual, but there are tools that are universal. And we believe this film is designed and intended and must be a universal tool that people can receive the inspiration they need to embrace and engage their own hero's journey, their own knight's tale, their own journey of personal transformation. So thank you. Thank you for listening to this message. Thank you for joining us in the campaign.
And here's to a great second week, and we will see you all again in some way, shape, or form with our offering in week 3.